Hey y'all, happy lockdown Sunday. Cheers. I got a treat for you today. I'm not cooking. I'm gonna let my boy cook. He just recently moved back home from California. He graduated from high school 12 years ago, moved out there, and he's been cooking out in California for a dozen years. And he moved back home just in time to get locked down. So I'm gonna let him cook today. See what he can come up with. Hell, I've taught him how to cook since he was born, so we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna get out of here and let Zachary come back in a minute and show you what we're doing, or what he's doing. I ain't doing that, I'm drinking beer. So, be back in a few with Zachary. See you.
Alright, so I am doing my first video here, and we got a ham, nice spiral cut ham at the store. We were getting it, and I decided I wanted something that I haven't had in a while, and I've actually not really made but more than once or twice, and I wanted to do Croque Monsieur, and Keith got me convinced to actually do it on video here. So for those of you who don't know, a Croque Monsieur is a fancy French hot ham and cheese with I'm going to do Dijon mustard on mine, Swiss or Gruyere cheese. I have Swiss cheese here, and a Mornay sauce, which is bechamel. That is you make a cheese sauce from a bechamel with grated Gruyere. I actually have Swiss and Gruyere shredded here. For the bechamel, I'm using 2 cups of milk, 3 tablespoons butter, 3 tablespoons flour, so this should give me just over 2 cups yield, which would be about enough for probably 6 sandwiches or so. I'm going to make 2 right now, but I wanted to have some left over to use later. I got the ham here, so give me a minute. I'm going to slice some ham off here and then start the bechamel, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I'm starting the bechamel here. I'm going to start off by melting the butter in the pan. And then I'll add the flour to make the roux. Now the bechamel, it's a white sauce, so you want a white roux or a light roux. You want to cook it just a little bit to get that kind of toasty, nutty flavor from the flour and butter, but not too long to where it actually changes the color and starts to go brown. So I got the butter melting here. I'll add the flour once this is melted and whisk that in. And then we'll add the milk and slowly start to make the sauce.
Okay.
Alright, so the butter's pretty much melted here. I'm going to add the flour in to start to make the roux. Again, that's 3 tablespoons butter, 3 tablespoons flour I have here for the 2 cups of milk. I'm going to whisk this together, and this is going to cook for maybe a minute or 2, again, just to kind of toast the flour and butter a little bit, kind of bring out some of that nutty flavor. Again, you don't want to go too dark because you want a white sauce, not a brown. You're not making a medium or dark roux like you would for a gumbo or something. And then once I start to add the milk in, I'm going to add it slowly to incorporate. Also, I don't want to curdle or scorch the milk or break the sauce. So I'm going to toast this for a little bit, and then we'll start to make the bechamel. Now for the bechamel, I'm actually just going to season it with salt and pepper. You can, depending on what you're going to do with the bechamel, you can do nutmeg, steep an onion in it. I'm just going to do salt and pepper. Ideally, you'd want white pepper, but I don't have any, so I'm going to use black pepper. That's just going to give you flakes of black in the sauce, which if this was a traditional French bechamel, you don't want that flakes. You want a pure white sauce. So you can start to smell the butter and flour toasting a little bit. So I'm going to start to add the milk here a little bit at a time just to temper it in. I'm going to break up those chunks of flour, and then once all the milk is in, we're going to bring it to a boil and then reduce it down and let it simmer, because you want not only the milk to thicken up from the roux, which is only going to happen as it simmers, but you also want to cook out that raw flour flavor. So that's about half the milk so far. Alright, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit here and then add the rest of the milk, and then we'll season it. Alright, so I got all the milk in, I've got most of the roux dissolved, and then we're going to season it here with some salt and pepper. Again, I'm just using black pepper. Traditionally you want to use white pepper, and then salt, and I'm just going to add a little bit of salt for right now because it will thicken up and reduce a little bit, and you can always adjust the seasoning as you go. You don't want to over season now and have a salty sauce at the end once it reduces. Alright, so sauce is starting to thicken up. I actually added a little bit more milk to thin it out because I haven't added the cheese yet, and as the cheese starts to melt, it'll actually obviously thicken the sauce up too. So I thinned it out a little bit. Just finishing it off, I tasted it. Still had a little bit of a flour taste to it, so I'm just going to finish cooking it off. Now I have about a cup of cheese here. I may or may not use all of it. Obviously you don't want to dump it all in at one time because it's just going to kind of coagulate into a ball, and you're not going to actually melt the cheese throughout the sauce. So you're going to add it a bit at a time. Like I said, I'm just finishing off the flour here. Alright, so yeah, it's about there. So I'm going to start adding the cheese a little bit at a time to melt it. Yeah, so it looks like I am going to use about that whole cup of cheese. Just keep whisking it until that cheese is melted and incorporated throughout the sauce. Taste it and adjust the seasoning. A little bit more salt, and I think we're good. Yeah, perfect. Alright, so I'm going to turn the heat off on this, and then we're going to build the sandwiches. Alright, so we're going to make the sandwiches here. Starting off, I'm going to do 2 sandwiches. I'm going to do Dijon. I've got Grey Poupon here, but Dijon mustard on each side of both sandwiches. So you don't have to do a lot on each side because you're going to do it on both sides. So just want a nice little covering, just kind of keep the bread moist. And then on the stove I do have a little flat griddle that I'm going to do these on to toast the bread and melt the cheese. And then we're actually going to have the oven on the broiler set to high because I'm going to finish it off in the oven by putting some more grated cheese on top and melting that on top of the sandwiches. So we got the mustard here. I'm going to do a slice of cheese on each side as well. Again, this is just Swiss. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these on the flat top and start to toast them. Now I do have this set fairly low, just wanted it hot enough to melt the butter and start to melt the cheese. I don't want to turn it up too high just yet because I don't want the bread to toast until the cheese is melted. Let's make some room here. So once the cheese starts to melt, I will turn the heat up a little higher and actually get that nice toastiness on the bread. Then we'll add the bechamel and the ham. And like I said, then we'll finish these off in the oven. Alright, so cheese is starting to get soft. The bread is getting a nice little color on them. I just checked them. So you can see that. Oh, that one. There we go. So starting to get a nice color here. Now that's going to keep going. I'm going to go ahead and add the ham. Alright, we got the ham here. And then some of the bechamel or the Mornay. I'm just going to do the Mornay on one side of the sandwiches because I am going to have to close these. Get a nice little covering here. You can add as much or as little as you like. Half the fun though is this is kind of a nice gooey melty sandwich. So we got the Mornay there. So see, we got some nice color going on. Oh, look at that, beautiful.
That looks good.
Just check the other side here. Yep, that's looking nice. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Now the ham was already cooked and still warm. Turn that one around. I would recommend heating the ham up. You can do it in a pan, do it on the flat top here. Turn that over, get a nice little color on the other side. And again, I do have the ovens here. That's what the sheet tray is for. The oven is set to broil at high. Once we get a little color on here, yeah, a little bit longer, maybe 30 seconds or so, I'm going to top it with some more of the grated Swiss and Gruyere, and we're going to finish these off in the oven. Be right back.
Okay.
Alright, so we got these toasted. And again, we're going to just top it off with some of the shredded Gruyere and Swiss. Again, you can do as little or as much as you'd like. Doing a nice amount here. Again, you want it to be kind of cheesy and bubbly on top. And then that's going to melt, and as you eat, it's going to mix with that nice Mornay sauce, which will be nice and warm and bubbly on the inside. And you're going to get this nice gooey hot ham and cheese sandwich. So let's go ahead and get these in the salamander or broiler, whatever you have if you're lucky enough to have a salamander. And then we'll be back. These should only go maybe a minute or so. Again, you don't want to, the bread's already toasted. You just want to melt the cheese. Alright, so the Croque Monsieurs are ready. So this is what it looks like when it came out of the oven, out of the broiler. So you get the cheese melted on top, bread's nice and toasty. I went ahead and just cut it in half, kind of on the bias, and a little extra Mornay sauce on the plate here, just to kind of dip it in if you choose. But yeah, so that's what a Croque Monsieur is. Now, if you want to do Croque Monsieur's wife, Croque Madame, you just take this right here and add a sunny side egg on top of it, and you have Croque Madame, which would be Croque Monsieur's wife. But yeah, so that is a French hot ham and cheese, also known as a Croque Monsieur. Ham, Swiss and Gruyere, Mornay. Not something you're ever going to really see on a high-end, you know, like haute cuisine type French restaurant, but definitely a cafe kind of bistro type food that you would see at a lot of not just French cafes, but cafes in general. So hopefully you like and make one yourself. Enjoy. And we got a taste test here. It's a sandwich. You can pick it up.
Another cook in my kitchen. What the hell?
Just pick it up.
I ain't gonna pick it up. Damn, I hit my fork. Never had one of these. Pretty much tastes like a hot ham and cheese sandwich to me,
Pretty much.
with a little cheese sauce on the side.
So you like it?
Yeah, this is pretty tasty. It's way more fancy than I get.
So maybe. So maybe he can teach you something.
We can't teach an old dog new tricks.
You know that. Yeah.
Well, thanks Zachary for doing this today. Hope y'all found this entertaining, if not energetic. Remember the rules. Stay socially distracted.
Just.
We'll be back next time with something good. I don't know. This is pretty damn tasty though, man. I think I'll go eat some of this. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back next time. Cheers.